Baseball is back, and both WagerTalk and Sports Memo have an amazing offer to keep you in action from the first pitch to the kickoff of the upcoming NFL season. We have you covered from Thursday, April 7th, when 18 of the 30 MLB teams take part in opening day, to Thursday, August 4th, when the NFL Hall of Fame game kicks off in Canton, Ohio for less than $5 per day. To lock in your favorite WagerTalk expert through the start of NFL preseason, it would cost you well over $1,000. But for a limited time, pay only $5.49, coming out to just $4.61 per day. This will include any plays released for MLB from opening day to August 4th, rest of the NBA and NHL regular seasons, entire playoffs and championship games, golf, UFC, soccer, and more. As an added bonus, your access begins when you sign up, so the earlier you sign up, the more free days you'll get. This will include all sports and any 5% best bets played during this time, so act fast as our first pitch to kickoff promotion ends on opening day. So lock in your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo handicapper through the start of football season for the lowest price possible.
All right, exciting day. Lawrence Presman back from his vacation. And shout out to all my Canadian brothers. Today is day one of legalized gambling in Canada. Enjoy. Make sure to get your information at WagerTalk. Teddy Covers not joining us. The man needs a break, and I respect that immensely. Instead, I got to choose. Out of anybody on the WagerTalk roster, who did I pick to co-host this show with me? Well, the man that makes me laugh. Andy Lang, baby. Welcome to Teddy Covers seat. Thank you for doing this on short notice. Love the fact that you're going to be co-hosting this show with me.
This is going to be amazing. I always love being the backup to the backup. You can always tell you're the backup to the backup when the show starts with a one shot of you. And then I get brought in after, but this is an honor. I can't believe you asked me to do it. I'm so happy to be here. This is going to be a great show. We got a ton of sports going on. This is one of my favorite weeks of the year. You know why?
Yeah, dude, we got the national championship game going tonight. Baseball season starts on Thursday. It's $9 Mondays at WagerTalk. And just to clarify, Andy, you are actually the backup of the backup of the backup. I would have reached out to Marco, but Marco's a guest today. So
he's already on the show.
And then Bryan Leonard. You're actually backup number 7, to be honest with you. But hey, it's better than number 8, bro.
Better than last.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get this on the road. What did you learn in the wonderful world of sports betting this weekend?
I learned a few things, and you already touched on one of them. What an incredible 10-day stretch to start off April for everyone at WagerTalk.com. Let me go over the things that are happening in the first 10 days. KBO starts. You got the men and women's Final Four and championships. NFL season win totals come out. MLB opening day. NBA regular season wraps up, gets ready for the playoffs. Full NHL schedule. World Cup groups get announced. Full soccer league schedule. UFC 273, where 2 championships are on the line. We have the iconic Martinsville night race in Martinsville, and 2 hours after that, you get your Australian Formula One race. We have horse racing, and to top it all off, it's Masters Week. This is all in the first 10 days of April. Like, how can you not be more excited on a 10-day run? And there's no NFL. So I learned that over the weekend. I also learned that I can win a bet and then lose it a little bit later on. I had a player prop. I had Contavious Caldwell-Pope over 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He had 22, and he checked out of the game. The game was almost over. While he was sitting on the bench, they stat corrected it and took away a rebound. And so it dipped under the number, and I lost. So I went from winning a bet to losing based on a stat correction. And then for those of you that are on Twitter, I learned I do not want to ever see a video on my Twitter feed ever again of a 109-year-old monk. If you've seen this video circulating around, I just want everyone to know that I have learned. I've seen it. I'm good. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but I went dark this week.
You will.
I won I won every single hockey game while skiing in Aspen. My ski trip was sensational. I skied 7 out of the 8 days. It was amazing. Just a wonderful, wonderful trip. Andy, David Gary wants a shout out from the Prez, and well, he logs on every day. So shout out to you, David. Thanks for joining us, man. Guys, hit that like button. 100 likes. We'll get to the daily presidential address. And of course, starting Thursday, I will be including baseball picks in that as well. Andy, before we bring Marco on, I mean, listen, the national championship game tonight, you're going to do that in your big game breakdown. We got Marco coming on today. Marco's going to look at the big game tonight as well. Kelly's going to look at the big game tonight. She's coming on too. And Bryan Leonard coming on. He will not be looking at the big game, but maybe we'll try to suck something out of him. Oh, that sounded terrible.
Wow.
Let's bring Marco D'Angelo in. Marco,
I hope that's
man,
not why you brought me on this show.
Oh, Marco, don't come on my show.
Now I know what the seventh backup is brought on. Suck something out of Bryan Leonard. Awesome.
Yeah. There you go, Andy.
How
That's
do I
your
lead?
responsibility to suck something out of Bryan Leonard. Marco, who comes on my show wearing orange, dude? Like, what's going on? Like, I am the orange man.
You are everything, sir. All I know is when I grow up, I want to be able to have as many vacations a year as you do. That's my goal. So I'm still working on it.
Marco? You know what, Marco? As a partner in Wager Talk, you're already there, bro. You're just not booking the vacations. But your bank account likely will allow you many vacations. So don't come on here and give me that shit. It's on you that you don't book them. You have enough money to have them.
I'll work on that, Prez. But yeah, fun weekend. I mean, guys, if you didn't enjoy, no matter which side you were rooting for Saturday, North Carolina and Duke, you just don't like sports. I mean, that is as good as you get in any sport. College basketball, 2 heavyweights. The only thing that could have made that game any better would have been if that would have been the championship game tonight. I mean, for that to be, the semifinal game and, see what happens to get to the championship. 2 teams that absolutely hate one another. The side story with Coach K, and then all the lead changes down the stretch. Yeah, you can't ask for any more in sports.
Yeah, it was
now we got to handicap a game tonight. And for me, guys,
brother.
Let's break it down. And guys, I'm going to use a phrase here that we use in horse racing a lot. You guys know my horse racing background. If you watched the game Saturday and you saw the epic game that it was, as I'm watching it, what's going through my mind is, if the winner of this game, if it was a horse, we would be worried about the horse bouncing. There's a term, and what that means is when you have such a peak performance, when you go to the mat to win a race, the horse is extended right to the wire. Sometimes in that very next start, that horse will have a dull effort. Just doesn't come back the same as was in that previous race. And that's what my concerns are for North Carolina tonight. And the thing that hits my memory the quickest is, let's go back to football season. Do you remember the epic playoff game between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs? Everybody, when that game was over, to a T said, wow, that was the Super Bowl right there. And no, it wasn't, okay? We still had the AFC Championship game the very next week. And you know what? Kansas City, they came out, took the big lead, but they didn't get to the wire. They didn't have enough gas in the tank, whatever you want to say, against Cincinnati. And Cincinnati pulled the upset and went on to the Super Bowl. I think that's what's going to happen to North Carolina tonight. Not only did you win that epic game, but again, it was against your arch rival for the rubber match of the 3-game series that they had this year. And then the icing on the cake, the cherry on top of the sundae, whatever you want to say, is you ended Coach K's career with a loss. And you got to believe they had a lot, big smile on their face with that one. So with that said, That's going to have me looking at the Kansas side from the situational standpoint. From the matchup standpoint, I'm on Kansas as well. And the reason for that is going to be what I think is going to be dictated by the style of this game. North Carolina likes to go up and down the floor. And in the Duke game, they got to do that. Kansas is not going to let that happen. Kansas is going to try to work you into a half-court game. And North Carolina doesn't like to play that way. And the more times that Kansas is successful in doing that is going to be to their benefit. You look at the stats from Saturday. North Carolina won that game. There were two areas that they prevailed from that got them the win. One was Duke was absolutely horrid from three-point range. Just 5 of 22, 22% from three-point range. Also, Duke at the foul line, they left 8 points on the table in the foul line. Just 12 of 20, 60% from the line. Those two areas, Kansas, although at times Kansas can be hold your breath on the foul shooting, Kansas is not going to shoot 22% from three. On Saturday against a very good Villanova team, they shot 41%. I think Kansas will stretch that lead out in the second half. And when they get that lead to 7-9 points and North Carolina has to start forcing threes to stay in the game, that's when that fatigue factor will come in. That's when the legs won't have as much bounce in them when they're taking those long jumpers, and I see Kansas pulling away. I got Kansas winning this one. I also think that this one, because I like Kansas, if you look at the correlated parlay end of it, if I like Kansas, I think it's going to be a slower tempo, so I am going to look to the under as well. But my official play for the show is Kansas minus the points.
Love it, Marco. You were talking about, was this their Super Bowl? I look back to St. Peter's. I have a friend who lives up there by St. Peter's, and after they beat Purdue the next day, he said that was their Super Bowl. Like, this is it. They just blew their wad, and it was a great spot as well. A couple things about handicapping the national championship game. Do you at all look at previous national championship games to look and see if there's any trends with any like first half unders or overs or how teams start? Or is this specifically you handicap the two teams that are playing?
Well, you're always going to handicap the two teams that are playing, but what you will look at least I do, is you want to look at people that have been there before and understand it. Now, although from the head coaching standpoint, there's a considerable edge, of course, with Kansas and Bill Self here in this game, but he has been there as an assistant and as a player and everything else. So he's not totally, foreign to this experience with the North Carolina coach. I will look at things like that because it is different. And that's one of the things you brought up, the St. Peter's game. Anybody that was sharp was on North Carolina in that game against St. Pete's. And one of the big things is the second game. Whenever you have a week to prepare for a game, it neutralizes the advantage that the experienced team has. You have more time to get your team ready for the situation on hand. But when you have that turnaround from Saturday to Monday, or in the St. Peter's case, from Friday to Sunday when they played, that one day to get your team off the high, refocus, and get a game plan and then play a game is much tougher for the inferior and inexperienced team at the big dance. So that's one of those things that, was against St. Peter's in that game, and it's a little bit of an advantage for Kansas in this one.
Marco D'Angelo joining us, everybody. Marco, it's $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. Man, I'll tell you, I wish I could put up an NHL play tonight. I'm on such a massive run, but I'm going to pass. You want to talk about Toronto versus Tampa Bay, and I'm going to discuss this game in the daily presidential address. If there is one, we need 100 likes. I like Toronto here, Marco. I feel like if you study Toronto, they play to their competitors. We saw them lose to Buffalo. We saw them lose to Montreal. Then they beat Florida, went into Boston and beat them. This is a massive game. It could legitimately come down to home ice advantage between these two teams in the first round. We got Toronto at plus 110. I like them. What do you like here?
I like it too. And when you look at this, as well as Toronto's playing, you hit the nail on the head about playing to the level of the competition. This is a team that's won 5 of their last 6 games, but the one loss might have been the most ugliest loss you could have because they lost to Montreal. Montreal is horrid this year. But 2 things to point out about that game. For Montreal, that's their Stanley Cup, playing Toronto. They want to beat Toronto any chance they get an opportunity, especially since they won't be going anywhere in the playoffs. And from the Toronto standpoint in that game, Prez, the very next night they were playing Florida. They, in my opinion, clearly looked past Montreal in that game, got 100%. Caught, got beat, and then they come right back the next night and beat Florida. You're going to see a very focused Toronto team tonight. This is a big game as far as playoffs go. And when you look at it, we all know, Tampa Bay, how good they are, defending champs and everything else. You look at this number. When I first saw the number, I had to do a retake. I thought, wow, that line looks low, man. They're begging you to take Tampa at home. Yeah. And we all know Vegas doesn't give out a lot of free lunches, guys. And when it looks too good, it usually is. And that has me on the Toronto side tonight. And I got a couple stats that support it as well. You've got a spot here for Toronto. They're playing with revenge from a home loss to Tampa the last time they played. When they've been in that situation the last 2 seasons, guys, how about 18-3 are the Toronto Maple Leafs? Also, if they're coming off a road win by 2 goals or more, they're 12-1 this season. And off a road win period, the last 2 seasons, 29-8. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get to the window with Toronto tonight. And guys, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek. If I cash my ticket tonight on Toronto, for all the reasons we like Toronto tonight, look at the schedule tomorrow. They're going to go to Florida and have to play in back-to-back games. And, oh, by the way, they beat Florida. We just talked about it after they lost to Montreal. So it'll be Florida that'll be in the revenge spot tomorrow night. So this is maybe a 2-play ticket for you. Toronto tonight, if we cash it, let's parlay it over tomorrow on Florida.
Marco, just really quick, the only thing that's really keeping me from betting this Toronto game tonight is Jack Campbell. 2nd game back from a long stint on the injury list and really just has been playing terrible since December. Any thoughts on that? Because that's really keeping me off of this game.
Well, the fact that it is the 2nd game back, you say he was playing terrible. He was, but, part of that, with injury and so forth. He's back. He's healthy now. He got that start under his belt, got a win. They gave him, a lot of support offensively in that game, get you your confidence. Granted, that win was against Philadelphia, a bad team. But I'll throw another horse racing reference. Sometimes you got to drop your horse into a cheap claimer against weaker foes just to get your confidence back. And he got the win, got some confidence in that game, and I look for him to build on that tonight.
Marco, real quick, I know you had a really good horse race. You've mentioned horse racing before, and I thought this was a perfect time to ask you. We got the Kentucky Derby coming up, but a lot of people get excited for the race. They don't realize about how important in the industry the horse races leading up to the Kentucky Derby is. And there's so many opportunities, and I know you just cashed at the Florida Derby. So just wondering if you'd tell us, leading up to the Kentucky Derby, some of the opportunities that we have, some of the things that you'll be looking at. And I know we got Pony Pundits that'll be coming up. So just tell us a little bit about horse racing and what you got to promote.
Yeah, real quick. For every Friday at noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern, we do the Pony Pundit show, and we take the biggest race of the weekend. Last week, it was the Florida Derby. In those prep races leading up to the Kentucky Derby, you have to be a 3-year-old to race in the Kentucky Derby. You have to have paid nomination fees and sustaining payments to get into the Kentucky Derby. But you need one other thing. You have to be one of the 20 top point earners to get into the gate. They only take 20 horses and they go by a point system, and you earn the points on these prep races that we've been having for the last couple months leading up to that first Saturday in May. This Saturday, there'll be 3 big stake races, the Bluegrass, the Wood Memorial, and the Santa Anita Derby. Those will be the final prep races heading into the Kentucky Derby. And you got to get those points to get in there. We crushed the Florida Derby. And if you've tuned into Pony Pundits all season, back in January, I told the listeners to get down on a horse named Epicenter. He was 33-1 in the future book before that race that weekend when I told them to play him. And we got down at it, and he is now one of the favorites for the Kentucky Derby. And if you listened, you got a 33-1 ticket in your pocket heading to the Derby, as he is the point leader heading into the Derby.
Awesome stuff.
Marco D'Angelo, everyone. Outstanding work, man. Thanks for coming on. Enjoy the game tonight. Jeffrey and Chuck both like the under in the Toronto Maple Leaf game tonight, and I agree with that, guys. I think we're going to see a playoff-style game. I think it's going to be low scoring, even though these two teams score a lot. And if it does go under a Marco back-to-back, I will like the over in the Florida game tomorrow. Andy Lang, get your chops ready. We're going to take a quick break. We got your big game breakdown, Kelly Stewart, Bryan Leonard, and the daily presidential address. Stay with us, everyone.
Baseball is back, and both WagerTalk and Sports Memo have an amazing offer to keep you in action from the first pitch to the kickoff of the upcoming NFL season. We have you covered from Thursday, April 7th, when 18 of the 30 MLB teams take part in opening day, to Thursday, August 4th, when the NFL Hall of Fame game kicks off in Canton, Ohio for less than $5 per day. To lock in your favorite WagerTalk expert through the start of NFL preseason, it would cost you well over $1,000. Before a limited time, pay only $5.49, coming out to just $4.61 per day. This will include any plays released for MLB from opening day to August 4th, rest of the NBA and NHL regular seasons, entire playoffs and championship games, golf, UFC, soccer, and more. As an added bonus, your access begins when you sign up, so the earlier you sign up, the more free days you'll get. This will include all sports and any 5% best bets played during this time. So act fast, as our first pitch to kickoff promotion ends on opening day. So lock in your favorite WagerTalk or Sports Memo handicapper through the start of football season for the lowest price possible.
All right, we're doing a big game breakdown. We should call this a big tourney breakdown. It's Masters Week. Of course, we got to go over the Masters. So we're going to talk a little bit about the tournament, the course, the field, and of course, a certain somebody that likes to wear red on Sundays. And then we'll give out an outright winner. So let's talk the Masters. Always played on the same course down in Augusta. A couple things to realize. They've made 2 adjustments to some of the holes this year. They make the course a little bit longer. So if you're looking for really, really low scores, that's going to be tough. The weather is tough. It's going to be chilly, and the wind is going to be gusty. It's going to be over 20-mile-an-hour gusts Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So do not look for a really low-scoring tournament. I got a couple of guys and storylines to look out for this week. First one, Scotty Scheffler's coming in. He is the new #1 golfer in the world, just past Jon Rahm. He's won 3 tournaments recently, so we'll see how Scheffler holds up when he faces a lot of pressure coming to the Masters as the new #1. Can Hideki Matsuyama do the impossible and defend his Masters title? This is really, really tough. Defending champions of the Masters do not do well. If he can finish inside the top 10, this will be the first time since Jordan Spieth did it a few years ago. And of course, the biggest storyline coming into this week for the 2022 Masters is got to be Tiger Woods. The whole world is looking at Tiger Woods at the Masters. And here's what we know about Tiger. He's going to be a tee time decision. He's out there on the practice range. All indications is that he looks good. However, this is a very hilly course. It's hard to walk, especially after you've been in a traumatic accident like he has. I have no doubt that he can stand on the range and hit the ball and look really good. What I doubt is that he's going to be able to walk all of 18 holes on Thursday and Friday. And then if he makes a cut, if he can get to the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I think it's going to be too much. I do not have high hopes for Tiger. I know everyone's excited, but this is a great opportunity to fade the iconic Tiger Woods. So let's look at an outright winner. What characteristics do we look for in an outright winner? At the Masters, you have to score on the par fives. You have to be having a good season coming into this tournament. You don't see too many winners out of nowhere, and you should have good previous finishes at the Masters. Me personally, I want a guy who has proven he can close out tournaments. I don't want a golfer who seems to be stuck in the friend zone, who cannot close the deal. And I come back to Cameron Smith time and time again. He has won twice this season, so I know he can close the deal. And those are big tournaments. He closed out the Tournament of Champions and the Players. He's finished 10th and 2nd the last two Masters, and he's 2nd in par 5 scoring this week. He is 14-1 to win this week. He is my pick to wear the green jacket. Go grab Cameron Smith now, and that is your big game breakdown.
Awesome stuff, Andy. I'm in, man. I can't wait for the Masters. I love golf. Everybody knows I've been trying to figure it out all year. It's not going well, but I am going to break 300 at some point this summer. Kelly Stewart joining us. And Kel, I asked you at the break, man, Toronto's coming into Tampa Bay. You live in that area, and you're not going to go to that game because of some national championship game you could care less about, but are betting still.
I am betting, and I do have a lot of work. I've got Money Shots with Megan coming up, and then we're going to do a show live. Adam Trigger, Drew Martin, Chris Thurston, and I, the Hustle Pod, right before tip, give out some last-minute bets. So unfortunately, Prez, some of us have to work. Like Marco said, we can't just all live on vacation.
You're sounding like Teddy to me there, Kel. Like Teddy is
Prez,
the one.
I've been living my best life.
You're always on vacation. Blah 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 blah.
Vacations, that's on them. As you mentioned, as WagerTalk owners, we've got. I get to make my own schedule. Of course, I'm going to take more vacations. I'm going to Costa Rica at the end of the month. Going to go to Saratoga at some time this summer. Going to go back to Key West. I've already got vacations planned, at least in my mind, if not already on paper. So that sounds like a them problem, Prez, not an us problem.
Nicely said, Kelly Stewart. Kel, let's talk national championship game tonight. You don't want to bet Kansas, but you are. Is that really the general
Prez, I don't want KU to win another national championship. Never do I ever in my soul want to cheer for this team. But, Marco pretty much nailed it. And even Andy chimed in and used a hilarious reference, which we're not allowed to use on TV unless, of course, it's the women's national championship game. But that's for another day. That being said, it's very true. This is a North Carolina team that has superseded expectations basically the entire month of March. They were able to upset Duke on the road, and ever since then, they have just been riding high, and it ended with beating Duke once again. I sprinkled a little bit on North Carolina money line. Drew Martin Betts talked me into it after doing the show with him the other day, so I was happy to see that result. I unfortunately gave up the under in Kansas Villanova, and that was just dead in the water after all those monster threes to start the game. And I was looking towards the total here tonight. I would love to make a case for the under. I really considered it. This is a North Carolina team that has moved up the KenPom rankings faster than I've ever seen a team before. So either he was really off on him, bookmakers were really off, or they have just been that good since basically February 19th, outside of losing that game to Virginia Tech in the ACC tournament. And obviously, as you know, Virginia Tech went on to win that. But you've got two teams that like to play really fast here, right? You've got the Jayhawks who push the tempo, and the Tar Heels like to do the same. So as much as I wanted to consider the under here and be that contrarian, I just couldn't do it. But I am going to lay the 4.5 with the Jayhawks here. It looks to be the right side to me, Prez. I don't want to say that North Carolina is Cinderella, but they kind of were, right? As an 8 seed, maybe they were underseeded, but they were the Cinderella of this tournament. They've been great against the spread, winning outright as underdogs, and normally I'd love to stay on that trend. I just don't think I can do it one more time, and unfortunately, I'm going to be on the Jayhawks, as much as that pains me to say it. So that should tell you all you need to know about how much I like this Jayhawks team tonight.
Kelly, Andy here. Apparently, the one person on the show who does not own a part of Wager Talk. Like, what do you guys? The Green Bay Packers? How many people own this company? My God, everyone would bring.
Listen, Andy, way back in the day, I elected to make a really great financial decision for myself and take less money and take some ownership of Wager Talk, and I'm very proud of Kelly from whatever year that was, 2015 or 16, whatever it was. Either way, I already told Prez when we were in Vegas, I'm taking more of his before the show's over.
I got to jump in here and say a couple of things. So firstly, Andy, the company was started by Marco and I. Then Johnny came in. Johnny is the man. I mean, he runs everything, all of operations. That's 3. Then we purchased Gold Sheet, and Rick came in. But before...
No, you forgot about Teddy with Sports Memo.
Yeah. And we bought Sports Memo, and we bought Sports Memo with stock. So Teddy has a piece. But before Teddy and Rick, I pitched Kelly. I met Kelly at Guy Fieri's something or other at the Link. I pitched Kelly. I'm like, join us. She says no. Then Johnny pitched Kelly a year later, and she agreed. And I will tell you unequivocally, from as the original shareholder, the guy who started it all right here, Johnny and Kelly were the 2 best freaking partners ever. Kelly is a superstar and deserves every part of the stock that she has in Wager Talk. And I highly recommend that Rick, Johnny, and Marco give her more of their personal stock.
Of their personal. As I mentioned to Prez today at the clubhouse at the Westgate, I was coming for his just because that first pitch to me was not enough money. So I said no. And Johnny came back. I don't even think it was a year later. I think I met Prez in like March or February. It was nice outside in Vegas, so I remember it wasn't too hot. And then I think I was there basically come football season. So it wasn't that far away. Just, it's just who Prez is. We love him. And he gets to be
Kel, you are the only person to ever say no to me when I pitch something like that. I mean, Marco agreed. Johnny agreed. Teddy sold me his company. Rick sold the Gold Sheet to us. You were a no. So I failed, but Johnny succeeded where I failed. And that's the story, Andy. So now you're up to date.
So, Andy, to answer your question, I think there's 9 of us.
It sounded more like 19. But anyway, congratulations on owning that. I'll just be over here owning the books. All right, follow-up question for you. Doesn't this go against everything you believe in? Are you really taking points? Are you taking a favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally laying chalk here. This is against a lot of things that I believe in, but that's just because it's the right side, Andy, and it's unfortunate. I don't want this to be a thing, but there are some issues that North Carolina has, and while they haven't had them as of late, they do show glimpses of them. One, they turn the ball over a ton, and that concerns me. Another thing is, they don't always get points in the paint like they should. They don't always win the boards like they should. And this is a Kansas team that has really been peaking basically since January. They've had a couple ugly losses. Unfortunately, they were able to come back against my Kansas State Wildcats. And I'm glad, because otherwise that would have saved Bruce Weber's job. But that's beside the point. This offense has just been electric. And as I mentioned, I'd love to take the under, but that's not because of KU. It's because of North Carolina. I do think that KU's defense is going to get the best of them here tonight. I think this looks like a 6 or 7 point game. Ken Palm agrees. I think he made this game 5 or 6. Situationally, you guys nailed it. I think North Carolina had their Super Bowl on Saturday, and we'll see. We'll see how they come to play tonight. Again, this is a 1-game sample size. I could be dead wrong. Part of me almost wants to be wrong, by the way, but I don't think that I am. So I'm gonna eat the chalk with the Jayhawks.
Kelly Stewart, everybody, and Andy, I forgot to mention one person, Nick. Nobody knows Nick. Nick is the behind the scenes.
He owns part of the company.
Yeah, and he was the original. He was the original with me and Marco. He is our tech god. He is the one that builds everything in the background. He is also a wonderful guy, lives in Vancouver, has 2 gorgeous kids. But yeah, Nick. So I just wanted to shout Nick out because I know he doesn't listen to the show, but in case today's the one day he does, I don't want him to think he is forgotten because
I
without
counted
him,
Nick when I said 9 because I knew about Nick. I just didn't think that if I said, oh yeah, Nick, and everybody's like, who the hell's Nick? So thank you for that, Prez.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nick.
Yeah. We love Nick. Kelly, thanks so much for joining us. Andy, we got Bryan Leonard coming on any second now, and I love Bryan Leonard. And Andy, he does not have any shares, so you and him can bask in that glory. Daniel's son, where might Bryan Leonard be? He needs a second. Oh, there he is. The handsome Bryan Leonard. He is coming on any second now. Bry is talking 2 baseball future bets. And just for everybody, Bryan, for a couple of things, Bry. 1, you are incredible in baseball. 2, you are incredible in future bets. So I'm really going to enjoy this segment. I was hoping you'd talk Toronto, but I'm guessing they're probably overhyped number-wise, given that everybody in Canada has a little wood over them right now. You want to talk Arizona Diamondbacks and the Cleveland? I cannot believe they called themselves the Guardians. I hand the mic to you, my friend.
I appreciate it. First of all, I appreciate your 5 minutes you left me to do the show today.
You have as much time as you want. We do not have a hard stop at 12:45 today, bro.
All right. Congratulations are in order for both of you guys. You're both really hot in hockey right now. I saw that flash across. Keep up the great work. And I do want to be the first to congratulate you, Prez, because your team will be going to the World Series this year. Toronto and the Dodgers will be in the World Series this year, and I don't think that's
I agree.
Going out on a limb there, but both teams are loaded. And Andy, it's finally a chance to get to work with you. I admire your work, sir, and just want to let you know, first time out of the whole time you've been on the show, in the company, I finally get to work with you, and I appreciate it. But actually, we're going to get to the baseball, and I'm a contrarian player for the most part. I like to zig when others are zagging, and I am going with an over on a team that finished 55 games out of first place in their division last year, and that's the Arizona Diamondbacks. That's a team last year, if you watched them play, they had tremendous injury, bad luck on last year's team. Ketel Marte, their best overall player, had injuries. Their best overall pitcher, and Zach Gallen, had a lot of injuries. But this is a team in Arizona that had a lot of talent last year, and they just didn't play up to it. I think the losing got to everybody as the season went on. They made a few changes. The pitching staff was horrendous last year. Madison Bumgarner is going to start opening day. His velocity is up in spring training. I expect a good year out of him. Not your typical number 1 starter good year, but I think he's going to be much better than people think. Merrill Kelly's good. Merrill Kelly's getting better. He just got extended. Luke Weaver's there. Zach Davies is a guy that can eat innings. And Zach Gallen, obviously, is the gem of this pitching staff. And I like some of the guys in the bullpen. They brought in some veterans in the bullpen. Melankin and Kennedy going right there, the last 2 guys in the 8th and 9th inning. I like that. But from a hitter standpoint, we get a full season out of Dalton Varsho, a guy who plays catcher and outfield. Marte is healthy right now. This is a team that I think is going to be much better than they were last year. Obviously, the Dodgers are going to be very good. Colorado is going to be down this year. And I think San Diego is a little bit overrated. I like the San Diego pitching staff, but I just don't think they have as much hitting. And obviously, their best hitter is out for a while here. So I like Arizona over. I think a lot of people price this based on the season they had last year, which was tremendously bad. But I expect them to go over by at least 3 games. I think they win in the 70s. Right now, I believe it's 67.5. Give me the over on Arizona.
Yeah, Brian, the Diamondbacks they were a cash cow to bet against. They finished the first half of the season on an 8-43 run. I do not do as many futures. I'm always envious that people that can read the futures better. So when you're looking at a team like the Diamondbacks, is it the pitching staff that's going to make the biggest difference? Because I can't even remember how many times they were up. And, you'd bet against them and you're up going in the 7th inning and all of a sudden you won by 4 runs. So is it really the pitching staff that you're focusing on that's the biggest change with this team?
Yeah, when you take a look at the Fangraphs futures, they look to save like about a half a run ERA off of what they had last year. They'll score a little bit more, but it's mostly the pitching. The bullpen was horrendous last year. I think it's more competitive now. I like the way this team is laid out, and I like to play teams who were absolutely horrible the year before, but they were a team that was close to playoff range the year before that. So, and there wasn't any personnel changes. So you get a team that has much better talent than what they showed last year. And in the public's mind, I think they still think Arizona's terrible. I think this is a team we'll be able to make some money on in nice underdog situations early in the season.
Bryan Leonard joining us, everyone. And guys, Bryan is an outstanding baseball bettor. Bryan, one of our listeners writes, Rance is his name. Did Toronto get any pitching? Well, Toronto is going to roll out Boreas, Gausman, Ryu, Manoah, and Kikuchi. I'm going with hell yes, Bri.
That is a better starting staff than the LA Dodgers right now. Dodgers going through some injuries. They're deeper. Dodgers are deeper in starting pitching. But right now, if you were to take those two teams, I'd rather have that Toronto pitching staff.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's going to be, I think the crazy thing, Bri, is I think Ryu's the weak spot here. It's going to be interesting to see how he does. But, man, when Ryu is your weakest pitcher, wow. Anyway, Cleveland Guardians, dude. This name just kills me. I mean, between the Washington and Cleveland, are these people brain dead when coming to names? But whatever. I don't know who they're guarding. You got a bet for us on them.
I lived in Cleveland 35 years. Never heard of the Guardians. That bridge has been there forever. And now they come up with the Guardians. I don't like it. I'm either going to slip up and call them the Indians, or I'm going to call them the Gardeners. I don't like the Guardians, but what are you going to do? My fellow Clevelanders from years past chose it. Don't like it, but I don't live there anymore, so what the hell do I got to say about it? But this is a team that continually gets overrated. The thing with Cleveland is the coaching staff is tremendous. The front office is tremendous. Problem is, everybody they've got that's any good from a youngster standpoint moving up are all middle infielders. You can only play so many middle infielders. So they're going to end up trading some of their best players in the minors in order to field teams that are competitive. Ramirez is clearly the best player. He loves Cleveland. Cleveland loves him. They're talking about extending him, but they can't meet his demands. He's not asking for a lot, but Cleveland's so cheap, they will not be able to re-sign him, which means he'll be traded. Toronto's one of those teams. I don't know where they're going to put him, but Toronto's one of those teams that wants him. You go down that list in Cleveland, you got Miles Straw as their leadoff hitter. That was a guy that was really weak in Houston. The only reason he played in Houston was because they didn't have a healthy player out in center field, and he could run. And he's like one of the best players on this Cleveland team. Rosario was the guy who couldn't hit it, couldn't play very well in New York. They get Rosario and they get Jimenez, and either one of those players have done much other than what Rosario played last year. But they're moving him from second base to outfield. When you're moving a guy like that, it's hard to get a player to be able to concentrate on his hitting. He comes off his career year last year. I don't know if we'll get that again. Fremel Reyes is terrific. Love the guy. But you got Bobby Bradley, probably the weakest first baseman in all of baseball. Stephen Kwan's probably going to come up. He's one of their guys from the minors. He'll get a lot of play time. But they just don't have very good hitters on this team. They got the worst hitter in baseball, a catcher, in Hedges, and they still got Bradley Zimmer in the outfield. A lot of speed, can't get on base. The hitting is disastrous for this Cleveland team. Love the pitching staff, but how long are they going to be able to keep this going? They had a lot of injuries last year. Cleveland's going to win. It's going to be from the pitching staff, just like it's been for the last few years. Hate the offense in Cleveland. I think they end up trading some of these players away and bring up the minor leaguers this year. Hopefully they'll do a little bit better. But I love Minnesota in this division. Obviously, Chicago's loaded. Tigers are looking really good. Kansas City's going to be better than what people think. It would not surprise me if the Guardians finish in last place in this division.
Bryan Leonard, awesome stuff, dude. I like alliterations. I would have gone with the Cleveland Clowns personally. I think there would, people would be able to comment with masks on and face painting. There could have been so much marketing potential there, and of course, they never win, so it's appropriate anyway. Bri, it's $9 Mondays. What do you got going at WagerTalk? Are you selling a play for the national championship game? If not, can you give it to us?
I have one play up. It's in hockey, and that's up for $9 Monday. I did release a play to my clients on Kansas, also put it up as the free play. It's been talked about on the show enough. I like Kansas. I will not be going out to watch the game. I'll be doing some live betting on it. With all the new sportsbook players out there across the country, a lot of people will be trying live betting on this national championship game, and I think we'll be able to take some nice advantages on that. So that's what my game plan is for that game tonight. But I do want to point out, I believe on the college basketball show, this is the last show today. Tomorrow starts baseball, and Dave Koken and I are doing a preview of the American League tomorrow. It'll be at the same time as the college basketball, and Dave Koken's elite when it comes to baseball. I've won 4 out of the 5 years on the site, coming off my only losing year. So I'm looking to really bounce back strong in baseball this year. So I'm excited about it, and I think you guys are too. So baseball's starting soon. First show is tomorrow.
Bryan Leonard, what a show, man. Guys, we got over 100 likes. Thank you to everyone. Dan, cue me up, baby. All right, it's great to be back. Had an outstanding trip in Aspen. Skied 7 out of the 8 days. Legs are sore, need a massage. No one cares. Andy Lang cares. Anyway, I got a bet up for tonight's national championship game. It is a total on the game tonight. I'm on a 5-1, 14-5 totals run. Since the end of November, I've won over 61% of all my total bets across the board. So please check that out. It's $9 Mondays. You can get my total for tonight's game for only $9. There are 4 NHL games on the board tonight, and we are going to go through each one of them individually. First, we have Boston going into Columbus tonight. I don't love the spot for Boston. I think there actually is value on Columbus at plus 200. But I do prefer over the total. Boston's been playing to the over for the last few months, and Columbus is the biggest over team in hockey. So 6.5, I would go with over the total in that game. Toronto's going into Tampa Bay. I like the spot for Toronto. They always get up when playing big competition. I lean on the under in this game. I think it's going to be a playoff-style hockey game, but I prefer Toronto at plus 110. Arizona going into St. Louis. St. Louis minus 380. Guys, throw like a $10 parlay on Columbus and Arizona tonight. It's going to pay a lot out. St. Louis is coming back off of a road trip. They had a big win in their last game. It's a really bad spot for St. Louis. I also do like over the total in that game. And also, throw the LA Kings in there too. Plus 150 against Calgary. I don't like the spot for Calgary at all. There's like a $5 3-teamer for you. Columbus, Arizona, and LA. It'll probably pay 15-1. I haven't done the math yet, but that's what I like tonight. Outstanding show. That's the daily presidential address. And guys, I haven't had a shawarma in 8 days. I'm having one in 5 minutes. Andy, take us home, bro.
Yeah, grab all my stuff. This is a great week to get a 7-day pass. I'm up 95 units since March 1st. It's Masters Week. We are on an incredible golf run. Go grab that at WagerTalk.com. Thank you so much for having me on, Prez. This has truly been a life-altering experience.
That's it.
Baseball is back, and both Wager Talk and Sports Memo have an amazing offer to keep you in action from the first pitch to the kickoff of the upcoming NFL season. We have you covered from Thursday, April 7th, when 18 of the 30 MLB teams take part in opening day, to Thursday, August 4th, when the NFL Hall of Fame game kicks off in Canton, Ohio for less than $5 per day. To lock in your favorite Wager Talk expert through the start of NFL preseason, it would cost you well over $1,000. But for a limited time, pay only $5.49, coming out to just $4.61 per day. This will include any plays released for MLB from opening day to August 4th, rest of the NBA and NHL regular seasons, entire playoffs and championship games, golf, UFC, soccer, and more. As an added bonus, your access begins when you sign up, so the earlier you sign up, the more free days you'll get. This will include all sports and any 5% best bets played during this time. So act fast, as our first pitch to kickoff promotion ends on opening day. So lock in your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicapper through the start of football season for the lowest price possible.